Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, Lemon himself, Zeke Lemon, and this is my review for Friday Night SmackDown. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Share them to leave a like, comment below, and know your thoughts on Friday Night SmackDown, and of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way, let's get into the review, shall we? So, another SmackDown's in the book. We get one step closer to WrestleMania. We head to the States back next week, and I will say the unpopular opinion. I'm kind of ready for them to come back to the American crowds for a little bit. I'm not saying, by any means American crowds are better than European crowds. No, not at all. But, I said it when, the first show happened, and I believe it was, Barcelona, that SmackDown, where I just feel like sometimes the crowds just have a tendency to take over. Now, look, they paid their hard-earned money. They earn the right to make noise or to not make noise. And I would much rather have noise than no noise. But, that whole main event segment between Roman, Seth, and Punk. And I love the Roman Reigns. I love that chant. Don't get me wrong. I like it when they do it for Cody. I also like it when we sing for Seth Rollins. But, when they are talking, I would have liked the chanting to not be as loud, or maybe that's a time where you be quiet, because again, it kind of took away from it for me a little bit. Again, I'm not complaining that they were making noise. It's just sometimes it's just like, hey, something's happening in the ring. Don't do the singing for right now. Wait until there's moments of silence, and then you can go on about your business. That's really my only criticism when it comes to the crowds. Oh, sometimes they make too much noise, which is so stupid. It is. I know I'm the problem. But, if this was to be happening in Chicago, which is still going to be a really wild crowd, I think it's a good first American crowd to go back to, because Chicago always brings it for the most part. But I feel like in those moments where it's not just about, having fun, which at the end of the day, it is about having fun. But when there are promo segments happening, they listen and then they react. They're not just, not paying attention whatsoever, because again, they weren't. They were busy singing Roman Reigns or Seth Rollins' theme song. Now, granted, they did switch depending on who was talking, so I guess they were paying attention to a degree, which is just probably something I just can't fathom to do if I was there live. It would either be singing or like watching and listening. But again, that's the only reason why I'm kind of excited to go back to the American crowds for that alone, where I just feel like, okay, at least when there's promos, I'll actually be able to hear them talk and there won't be long pauses. Or two, that, I now get to see it live and nothing will get spoiled for me, because some things got spoiled for me, like how it got announced that they will main event. Punk, Rollins, and Roman will main event night one. Well, assuming anyway. We know they're going to be closing night one, because for sure, Cody and Cena are closing out night two. But the fact that they announced it so early kind of has me intrigued. One, makes sense. It's three of your biggest stars. It's an attraction. Once they said it's the biggest triple threat match in WrestleMania history, it was kind of a foregone conclusion at this point. And I just don't know if this is partially me still thinking, because look, y'all know me, I'm a Punk fan. I have a Rollins and a Roman shirt as well. I have all three of their shirts. I am really much looking forward to this match. Seeing Punk cry made me cry. I am all for it. But I do think the women deserve the spot a little bit more. But again, I understand why we are doing this, if this is truly what we are doing. And the only reason why I say if is that, one, yeah, it makes sense character-wise for Seth Rollins to crash out after he hears he will be closing out the show. But I also wouldn't be surprised to see on a Raw or a SmackDown, because I don't know when Roman's going to be showing up next. I would assume he would be in SmackDown in Chicago, or maybe he stays. He's already in London. Maybe he shows up for Raw. That Rollins tells Punk, I would rather die than main event with you. Because he says the main event of WrestleMania is so important to me, but making sure he doesn't main event is even more important to me. So I don't know if there comes a way where, there's a match that they have round 3 or whatever. Rollins wins, and then they can't close. And then that pisses Roman off more too, because, this adds on to his legacy. 10 main events if he does this. And Rollins is making sure that it doesn't happen. And then they open night 2 where the women could come in to do the main event. I don't know. I don't know if that's just me for my wishful thinking, that thinking, hey, I think Io, Bianca, and Rhea deserve the spot a little bit more. I do. But again, if they do close out, I'm not going to bitch and complain about it because, again, I think they are deserving of it. I think they're three of the biggest superstars ever. Punk, long overdue to get this main event spot. In a lot of ways, 28 should have been his year that he did, but hey, we were doing once in a lifetime. And then again, maybe in 29, it was probably his year too, but then we want to do once in a lifetime times two. But, you know, it is what it is. I like this segment for the most part. Again, the only thing I really wish is that the crowd would just let them breathe, and like there would have been some silence as they were talking, which again is really dumb. Believe me, I know how dumb it sounds that I wanted silence at my wrestling show. It was only during promo segments, and that's it. It's just that takeover energy that they have sometimes. But, you know, it is what it is. It was a fine segment. I am very intrigued to see how we move on now that we know it is announced, and how is that incorporated into the storyline, because I don't think that's ever been done before. Where we go, hey, you are closing, and we let you know weeks in advance, besides the Ronda, Charlotte, and Becky feud when we were doing the first ever women's main event match. Which on that one I understood because, you know, that's a big deal and you can really sell a lot of tickets with that one idea alone. But, you know, for this, it has nothing on the line as of right now. Maybe turns into a number one contenders match. And then, again, just Rollins saying, I would rather die than main event with him. Be a reason as to why he gets the main event. Let's get this pulled. And now that we know that is not Paul Heyman's favorite, Roman's going to be like, well, I don't really care to main event either. And they sabotage Punk main eventing. And then maybe Punk becomes the face. And as well, Roman and Rollins kind of have a little mini alliance due to this because of the whole story that's going on with it. I don't know. It's really interesting. It makes me want to tune into Raw, and it makes me want to tune into SmackDown next week because there's just still a lot of question marks. Again, I'm not fully convinced that they will close. It's likely. Don't get me wrong. It's very, very likely. I would say a 99% chance that they do, but I am still going to hold on to that 1% chance that storyline-wise it gets pulled because, again, they announced it, and that somehow Io, Bianca, and Rhea do get that spot to move forward. I think Tiffany Stratton also had her best promo ever that she has had on the roster. She just needs to learn how to talk on the fly a little bit. I really did like how she was able to spin it. It goes, look, if I lose to Charlotte Flair, the GOAT. One of the greatest of all time, if not the greatest of all time, which I do think. I do think Charlotte is the greatest female wrestler of all time. But if I win, then Charlotte loses, and then she says all the things that Charlotte has been telling her about and saying, and also how she brought up, hey, she didn't really let me talk. She's so insecure that she couldn't let me talk, but she has to learn to do that on the fly a little bit. So really good promo from Tiffany Stratton. Again, I still think I give the slight edge to Charlotte to win the title because I really just don't know if we are to go this route that Tiffany Stratton is going to be babyface, which it does seem like it's going to be the way, and it's probably the right thing to do. Then I just don't see what the win would benefit for her, as if we go long ways and then, you know, she has to climb her way back to maybe a SummerSlam where we do the rematch properly, or hell, maybe we make her wait a year and then in 42 is where she gets the title back, and we could crown her properly within that. But as long as she faces Charlotte again, I don't want her to face someone else. If she loses, I want this to be a series of matches as opposed to a one and done. If she beats Charlotte here, unless she goes back to heel and she does like what Paul Heyman did when Brock Lesnar broke the streak, I just don't see the benefit within that, especially with how the story has gone. And also, I think Charlotte will. I'm kind of looking forward to another reign of hers. I think it's needed within the women's division right now. The tag team title match was fine. We all knew Pretty Deadly wasn't going to win. I do think the Street Profits need to go back to their normal theme. A fun discussion that was being had on Twitter while these things were going on. It goes, look, you know, the Def Rebel theme songs, they need to be changed. And then someone replied back going, well, is it the song or is it the superstars not getting over? Because their name's on the screen. And I think that is a good clash to happen. The Street Profits are very much over. They are. And I think their music has just really killed their aura completely because like people want to get lit and cheer for them, and they're still very much baby faces. Just don't understand the change fully. But yeah, the match was fine overall within it. Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton was fun. This was the one where they had the distraction finish, and then Drew McIntyre gets the win. Damian Priest beats him up, puts him through the car. Very fun AEW reference where Punk goes over, looks at Drew. He's on the glass and he's going, damn, that's crazy. And then Drew tweeting out later, it was real glass, it got in my eye. It was really, really funny stuff. I'm looking forward to Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre WrestleMania. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's underrated as far as builds go, and maybe they have to add a stipulation. Maybe this turns into a false count anywhere match over it, and we just see them fight throughout the whole entire stadium. I think that could be a lot of fun, and that could give it the serious edge that it needs for more people to pay attention to it more, because it really is. It's just under the radar right now for the most part. The Cody and Orton moment was pretty good before, and then when Drew got involved, that was also fun as well. Again, this SmackDown was fine overall. I do think starting next week, maybe with Monday's show, hopefully Cena and Rhodes actually do talk back and forth instead of one just talking for 15 minutes and then the other comes out for a little bit and then they just walk away. But I do think it is time to turn the knob up from, I would say like we're at a 5 right now, maybe go up to 8. I don't think we necessarily need to take it up to 11 or to the max until, maybe 2 weeks. But I do think we need to turn it up a little bit because, again, the shows overall have been fine. And I think SmackDown could have been better if we would have been 2 hours. There was a lot of things that we could have done much better because, like the whole Michin segment, right? I didn't think we needed the whole... One, the Naomi video package was very much needed and very, very good. And I honestly think WWE is running into a trouble where they might accidentally double turn them. Where Naomi, who's going to do all these dastardly things, I love the new catchphrase, proceed with caution, how she does the caution tapes, outfits. It looks really, really cool. She might start to get cheered. I think we need to see this thing all the way through. If Bianca's to win the world title, I think we move straight into that after Backlash. Naomi wins at Mania, or maybe the WrestleMania SmackDown, and then we crown Naomi with the world title. Maybe we flip-flop that world title a little bit. Again, not every championship reign needs to go long, but everything we do with Naomi is very, very good. But again, I don't think we needed the whole backstage segment with Jade talking, and then they come out. Naomi beats up Michin, and then we still have the Charlotte match. And then it was just like, I feel like we could just like, hey, no contest. Maybe Charlotte comes out to beat up a little bit, or maybe 2 backstage segments with Charlotte and Tiffany. Would have probably been a little bit better, but it just felt very, very stretched out thin. I was still very entertained throughout the show. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't, necessarily love it. I wasn't knocked off my socks like I usually am when I am on the road to WrestleMania. But overall, it was a fine show, SmackDown. Good matches, decent show. Some to that segments that we want to talk about, like the triple threat match, contract signing, the Tiffany Stratton promo were really, really good. But overall, it was just a fine episode. But what did y'all think about it? Comment below. Let me know your thoughts on it. Leave a like if you made it this far within the review. I do greatly appreciate it. And hit that subscribe button as I am trying to grow into my YouTube career. And until next time, guys, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.